Russia has carried out a large-scale attack on the capital of Ukraine. The Ukrainian Air Force says Russia fired 629 missiles and drones, which is the second highest number of all of the war. In this video from overnight, you hear the sirens, you see the explosions as Russia hit the capital city with those drones and missiles. More than 20 sites were hit. At least 14 people have been killed. That number has been going up throughout the morning, nearly 50 wounded. The numbers are still coming in, and they're expected to rise as responders get to the debris of the damaged buildings. Briar, Stewart is right in the heart of Kyiv, and we can see right behind her the aftermath of exactly what we're talking about. Briar, good to see you this morning and to have you in position to report on this second largest attack from Russia in this war, now 3.5 years on. Tell us more about this overnight assault.
Well, where I am, Heather, it's at a site in the southeastern part of the city where there is an immense recovery operation going on. And let me show it to you. This is the 5-story building that was hit overnight directly by a Russian missile. You can see that a number of floors have collapsed because of it, and crews are trying to painstakingly pick through the rubble. And this morning, body after body has been brought out, and the death toll continues to climb. And we were speaking with a young man who lives in that building, and he described for me the sequence of events. He said they got the alert, they started to hear the explosions. He and his mother went to a shelter underground, underneath the building. He said that's when it was hit by a missile, and immediately he said the shelter filled with smoke. So he said he and others who were down there decided to leave the building and to try to rush into the street and find some cover. But what ended up happening, Heather, is that a second missile struck down the street. We can't see it because of the heavy equipment, but I'm told there's a very large crater down there. You can see the cars and everything. And so what had happened, he said, was that some people from the shelter who then tried to seek cover elsewhere were actually injured in that second shrapnel blast. This is just one site throughout the city. We understand that 20 neighborhoods were hit in the overnight attack. There was an office for the EU delegation to Ukraine that was damaged. Images show that there was debris all over the office and ceiling tiles were falling down. And just a really biggest attack since the end of July. And for people here, I mean, you can see, I'll just step away to the side here. You can see the crowd here. I mean, you have people that lived in this building. I spoke to one man who wasn't there at the time, but his wife was, and he was basically just sitting on the curb waiting for news from rescuers. So it's a very difficult situation, but I think we have to remember that this is something that Ukraine has now been dealing with for more than 3.5 years.
I'm so hope that our Europe and America, Canada partners will help us a lot, so they understand that humanity reasons, because we are not terrorists as our neighbor from east. It's real terrorist actions they did to us. I hope they understand it one day.
Now, that was Andre Luti, the young man who lived on the first floor of that apartment building, and he was talking about how he wanted to be hopeful, during all the recent weeks as all of these political talks have been taking place. But he says they've really just not seen any kind of momentum yet to have Russia be held truly accountable.
So, Briar, we're coming up to nearly 2 weeks now since the Anchorage summit, that meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, his Russian counterpart. I'm just wondering if there's been any international reaction to this. Obviously, no closer to peace with this massive attack. What kind of international reaction has there been this morning?
Well, we have seen condemnation. The leader of France has spoken out about it. Certainly EU officials are, not only because of the horrific nature of the attack, but just the fact that the office was damaged, their delegation office was damaged. And I should also say Russia has released its response. It said that it only fired drones and hypersonic missiles at military factories and air bases. Clearly, this is a residential building that was hit directly by a missile. And I think people are just really they're exhausted, they're full of grief, and they're just wondering where this all goes. Because over the last couple of months, there's been kind of this back and forth whiplash of talks, different changing attitudes from the White House. The last we heard after that summit between Putin and U.S. President Donald Trump was that Trump was going to give Russia 2 weeks, perhaps, to see if there was any progress. And at that point, the White House might roll out some sanctions, or Trump may decide that it's simply not the U.S.'s fight. And so I think there's just this real weariness from people. They're kind of tired of the political talk because, this is what they're having to deal with every day. And so, when I talk to people here throughout Ukraine, not just in the city, I ask them about the politics. And the response I get a lot of the time is, we can't even think about that. We're not thinking about that. We're thinking about things like this, things that are happening in our neighborhood, and just the reality of living in this war for so many years now.
Briar, thank you very much. Briar Stewart leading our coverage in the aftermath of this massive attack right there in Kyiv. Now, as far as further international reaction, as Briar's been reporting live, some word from European leaders, from French President Emmanuel Macron on social media, writing 629 missiles and drones in a single night over Ukraine. This is Russia's idea of peace, he writes, terror and barbarism. From the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, also on social media, my thoughts are with all those affected by the senseless Russian strikes on Kyiv, which have damaged British Council building as well. And from the EU head, Ursula von der Leyen, last night's attacks show the Kremlin will stop at nothing to terrorize Ukraine, even targeting the EU. And she indicates that the EU will be coming in with further sanctions against Russia soon, and is also working on frozen Russian assets, freeing those up to contribute to the reconstruction costs in Ukraine.